Hello everyone, today I will be, explaining what I would like from, each monster on Poison Islet, since that's not out yet. This is only for fun, and a lot of this stuff is definitely not going to be in the game anyway. This is all just something I think would be cool to discuss, so I'm not going to be disappointed if most of this stuff doesn't end up in the actual Poison Islet in-game. And also, this is different from my own Poison Islet prediction, but I'll still bring it up in the video every now and then if it's related. And if this gets enough likes, I will do one of these on Ethereal Gold Island too, if that doesn't come out before then. So anyways, yeah. I've been really excited for Poison Islet. Since Plasma Islet came out, I've been like, oh my god, we need to get Poison Islet. And 10 out of the 13 monsters, besides the Primordial, are actually favorite monsters of mine. So that explains why I'm so excited for it. And also, all the predictions I hear all the time, they're always so good. Anyways, let's get started. So the Disharmonizer should still obviously be a synth, kind of like how it is in every other islet. What kind of synth it will be, I don't really know, different kinds of synth bases, but I think it should play during the full song, like it did on Plasma Islet and Crystal Islet, although it could be interesting for it to just kind of go off and on to signify that Poison is like the most unstable element in the Ethereal class. This prediction has it with a rock organ sound. I think that could be a nod to Hehehe, since it's the Earth Island mythical and Poison is the Earth Island ethereal element. Although Shadow Islet also has an organ for the Disharmonizer, so that probably won't happen. I think it should have longer notes because Plasma Islet and Crystal Islet both have like the like that, or Plasma Islet just like I think it should be like Mech Islet and Shadow Islet, or it's like like that, or something like something long notes. This prediction has a very nice sounding bass. I think would really fit for Poison Islet. Humbug should definitely be more melodic and easier to hear, instead of just like the just notes like it is on Earth Island and Ethereal Island. It should definitely have some sort of melodic type of thing, and obviously should be easier to hear, which probably will happen since a lot of the Ethereals, especially the Ethereal Island Ethereals, get really good comebacks per se when they're on the islets. So yeah, and if it does have any tracks that are just like that, it shouldn't be its only track, but I think it would be really good if it was to descend to a calm verse. But again, it should be its only track, kind of like in my prediction here.
Aim bop.
For Jellybilly, I think it should be very melodic, as it's one of the main vocalists of the song. It would stand out. I think it would be really funny. I don't actually want it to do this, but I think it would be really funny if it actually would rap on Poison Islet, but I mostly want it to actually sound like how it does in Plasma Islet and Ethereal Island, kind of like that kind of deal. So the day-dop-do-dop-dow kind of deal, you know. I feel like it should be more prominent than it was on Plasma Islet, since it is a more prominent vocal alongside Kazillion, and it could really fit anywhere in the song, but again, probably more prominent verse, like a chorus type of deal. I think it would be really, I think it could do really well to duet with the other vocalists like Kazillion or even Teeter Totter. I think fit really well. Possibly even Blarid could duet with it. I think that'd be interesting. This is kind of niche, but I think it should have at least 2 tracks, because that's shown in quite a few predictions, I think. And this prediction has it go yeehaw. For Kazillion, it again should be more melodic, kind of like as a prominent vocal, but more of like a bass vocal. I think they did really well with it on Shadow Islet. Sounds really good. I hope they do really well with it here too. I think it should be in a more calm verse, or in a beginning verse, or something that builds up to something, because I think it just really fits. But it could also be like a good background vocal, as long as it also kind of stands out, and it can duet with Jellybilly. For Dragon, it's great background percussion, and it would fit really well as background percussion too. Even if it doesn't stand out at all, as long as it stands out a little bit, that would be good. And I think it did really good on Mech Islet, especially the animations. So like, I'm more excited for the animations of this one, because as much as I love Dragon, its sound is very quiet normally, but I do hope that they at least remember to add the bass drum and it's not just cymbals, which hopefully they will, because they did on Mech Islet. It could be in the full song on Mech Islet, but it could really be anywhere in the song. It could do well to transition verses with the cymbals. It could be either a great duet with Oogity or play when it's not playing. Same with tunefor if that ends up as percussion, but we don't know yet, so. And I think it should be its own percussion in a calm verse, and no other percussionists, if any, except maybe Flask, because that's more like pitched percussion. For Feng Prey, hopefully it's in a more prominent verse than it was on Crystal Islet, like in many predictions, and can sound really dramatic in some stuff. I think it would be really fitting. It can be in kind of a background role still, but it should definitely should stand out more than it did on Crystal Islet, because, you know, Feng Prey is like a fan favorite, and people were excited for it on Crystal Islet, and I love Crystal Islet. It's my second favorite islet, but I do agree that a lot of the monsters didn't really get that much time to shine on there. It could also be in the beginning verse. Honestly, it could really honestly be anywhere, but I think mostly it should be in like its own calm verse or beat drop kind of verse. And if the song is more dramatic, it could have some harsh notes on its instrument, just like a violin, stuff like that. And I did this in my prediction, but I think it would be interesting if it sounded like some sort of like quote-unquote siren type of deal, where like mine kind of sounded like like that. I think it would be really cool if it sounded like that. Now on to the workshoppers. We got Blairit next. I think it should definitely duet with someone. I think it would be really cool if it duetted with Ogler. It kind of did like a whole like quote-unquote take-turn verse, kind of like how it did in my prediction. I think it still should duet with Ogler, because lore-wise they are friends, and it's too perfect for it to not happen. Like, if Big Blue Bubble, I know you're never ever seeing this, but if you don't do that, like, what is going on? Like, how? If it does duet with Ogler, it can really be in any verse, but I think it should be in like its own verse, because in my prediction I kind of call it the quote-unquote take-turn verse, and it should also still have its own tracks, because I don't think it should only duet. I think it would be cool to have its own tracks too. It could be kind of anywhere in the song, and it should definitely stand out, and I think it would be also cool if it kind of duetted with Hiplash, or Exert, or Humbug, or even Teeter Totter. It could work too. Ogler, again, should duet with Blairit, because they're friends. I think it would be really cool if, kind of like in Plasmasm's prediction here, it descends down where it's like, like that. Because it kind of does that, like, in Mech, I was like, da-da-round, like that, but it kind of just goes like more slow, and it kind of goes through the calm verse to do that. I think it would be really good. I think it would fit for a main melody of the song, or backing for it even, because it's a pretty prominent instrument, and it can duet with Humbug or Feng Prey too. And Ogler's honestly the one I'm most excited to hear, because it's definitely one of my favorite monsters. For Flask, I think it's really important for transitions. I think it could do really well with that, but I think it should really stand out more like in Ethereal Workshop, because in Plasma Islet, and especially Crystal Islet, it's kind of gets drowned out by the other monsters, and it doesn't stand out. And Flask is also one of my favorite monsters. I really like the sound of it. I've noticed in Crystal Islet and Plasma Islet, it does have kind of its own unique sound for each of the islets, so I hope they could also do something like that in this island too. This islet probably sound like this here. But I think it should still also have its sound from the Ethereal Workshop, because it didn't have that in Crystal Islet. It could really be anywhere, and it could have a nice duet with Dragon, but it's probably more likely to do its own thing. And I think it could go into a quote-unquote calm verse with Feng Prey and Ogler, and I think it should be prominent pitch percussion. For Piplash, another one of my favorite monsters, it should definitely be more audible, because it's like almost, unless you have good headphones, you can't hear it in the full songs for the most part, especially on Mech Islet, because it sounds so good on Mech Islet and it's just not even audible there. But it should definitely be audible here, and it should do something that stands out like on Mech Islet and Shadow Islet, rather than just a da-da-da-da-da-da-da like on Ethereal Workshop. And I think it could really be a good duet with Humbug, because both are electric guitars, and it could also be a good duet with Blairit, and it could be in any verse. And I I personally think it would fit really well into the intro or chorus verses. I've had someone suggest to me on my Poison Islet prediction for Piplash to give them long notes, which, I mean, Poison Islet's already over, so I can't really do that, but also, I don't really know how I feel about that. I think it should stay with the short notes. I think it sounds really good already, and we already have Humbug with long electric guitar notes. Excerpt. Probably my least favorite monster on here, but I still love it a lot. It would be really good transition, kind of like in Crystal Islet, but it should definitely stand out more like it did on Shadow Islet. I think it sounded really good on there. I think it would be interesting if it had sort of longer notes instead of just the short like notes that it has for its sound, like in my prediction here. It really could fit anywhere, probably in a kind of like a quote-unquote chorus verse or normal verse. I don't know what it's called actually, but whatever. Hopefully people will get what I mean. For Teeter Totter, I know this is highly unlikely, but I feel like it would be really cool if it sounded more melodic instead of the like that, like in Plasmacid's prediction. If they do still go with the how it normally sounds, I think kind of like in Mech Islet how it has like a lower voice, I think would fit better on Poison Islet rather than like the higher voice like on Ethereal Workshop or Crystal Islet. And I think it would be a really good transition monster, and it could be good backing vocals. Really could duet with any vocal, but I feel like likely if it duets with anybody, it would probably be Jellbilly or Blairet. I think Blairet would be a really good combo. And the party horn sound from Teeter should be twice or more in one track instead of just once, or at the very least it should be like the end of the track and it just has them not say anything else until the next track or whatever, because I feel like it would be like whoa like that. For Oogity, assuming tunefor isn't any prominent percussion, Oogity is definitely going to be the main percussion of the song, because it does have a lot of like that kind of deal, and it should definitely play throughout the majority of the song. It could be a good duet with Dragon. It should definitely be audible and stand out, and could really be a good transition for it. For tunefor, we don't know its sound, so it really can go anywhere. I think it would be really cool if there was another secret verse, kind of like with Loeb and Bogle on Plasma Islet and Mech Islet respectively, where they kind of had their own secret verse, because they didn't do that with Shadow Islet and Crystal Islet, so I think it would be cool if it went here. I think it would be very fitting if the instrument was like a volcano eruption sound or something similar, and the volcano could be on its back. Another instrument it could have would probably be some kind of brass instrument, or it could even be some kind of synth. And it should definitely stand out more like the rest of the primordials, because all of them really stand out in the songs. So I hope that tunefor doesn't break the chain, because this is the last one and all the other ones did it. For the overall song vibe of Poison Islet, it should definitely represent Poison in some way. I think the most likely option we're gonna go with is making it rock themed, since there's two monsters, Humbug and Piplash, who have electric guitar for their instruments. An interesting take would be to kind of give it a more country type of deal. It could be like a rock country type of deal, because Jellbilly is like a hillbilly type of singer, but I don't think they'll do that. It would be interesting. I think it should definitely be fast-paced. It's more frantic because it would fit the Poison vibe. And it could start slow, but I think it should be fast-paced. I think it would be funny if it was like a quote-unquote villain-type song, like in this prediction. It can also be spooky themed, depending on when it comes out. It would fit well. And this prediction from Dipster Punter is a vibe that I think really fits, and the song overall just sounds good. For the island design, it's likely going to be green. I personally think it'd be really cool if the hand was amphibious and had like webbed fingers. I think that would look really nice on the design. I think it'd probably be on the back of the hand. The whole islet would be on the back of the hand, like on Crystal Islet. It might have poison goo, but I feel like that could be a bit too similar to Plasma Islet. Maybe if it was like facing underneath as a separate layer, kind of like how Mech Islet has the 3 fingers as separate layers so you can put your monsters on, which I think that was really cool. Probably face to the right of the map to face the center of the map like the other islets, and also that way it's still near Earth Island. For the critter, I don't really know what the critter could be, although it would probably just fit like a hand type of theme like all the other islets besides Mech Islet technically, even though it's still kind of a hand, but it's not as much as the other islets are. For the release dates, I think the most likely release date, or at least the best release date in my opinion, would be in August, because it could fit. It would release during Poison's Mark, which is like the celestial type of constellation that happens during August, and it would also be a perfect opportunity to release alongside Elder Scaritar, since now we're getting epic magicals. Hopefully we'll start getting Elder Celestials now too. It could also give a bit of time to release Ethereal Gold Island during Anniversary Month. Just the only likely case here is that it's not a very long distance after Crystal Islet's release. It could also release during Anniversary Month to give a distance and a finale to the islets, although at that point, when is Ethereal Gold Island going to release? If we even get that, which I think that's highly likely that we do, unless it's at the same time or in 2027, even though I hope it's not at the same time. I don't want it at the same time. So maybe 2027 and Anniversary Month next year. And then it could also be during Spooktical. It would definitely be a decent enough gap from Crystal Islet and would also really fit the spooky theme of the island. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed watching this. This was all, again, just for fun. Any of the predictions I put on screen, I'll make sure to link down below in the description. But anyways, bye bye.